Hello and welcome to News at 10 on Rajya Sabha television. I am Ashwarya Kapoor with you. Well, the situation in Jammu and Kashmir is our top focus. The curfew has been lifted in most parts of the Kashmir Valley after 51 days of lockdown. And this even as an all-party delegation is slated to visit Kashmir on 3rd of September. We'll get you all the details on that and much more in the next half an hour in this news bulletin. Let us begin with the headlines. Prime Minister says unity and love are the mantra to addressing Kashmir issue during his monthly radio address, Mann Ki Baat. Home Minister likely to lead all-party delegation to the state on 3rd of September. 3 more died due to floods in Bihar, taking death toll to 156. Centre asks state to submit memorandum at the earliest on damages, assures all help. French defence firm DCNS moves Australian Supreme Court seeking injunction against the Australian newspaper from further publishing leaked Scorpion documents, seeks court order to hand over documents in paper's possession. Dozens killed in Syria as the Turkey continues to target Kurdish-held areas. Turkish military says those killed were militants. Monitoring group says they were largely civilians. And US Open kick-starts today. Defending champion Novak Djokovic, Andy Murray and Rafael Nadal among top contenders in men's singles. Serena Williams to aim for breaking Steffi Graf's Open-era record. Well, the top story this morning: after 51 consecutive days, curfew has been now relaxed in parts of Srinagar and other districts in the Kashmir Valley. However, restrictions and shutdown continues. Now, curfew has been lifted from Anantnag town of South Kashmir. Security forces have been deployed in sensitive areas of the valley to prevent any protests. On Sunday, Chief Minister Mehbooba Mufti had said that the approach adopted by former Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the only way to resolve the Kashmir dispute. She also said that if the dispute was not resolved under Prime Minister Narendra Modi, it will never be resolved. She said that her government had hardly completed 3 months when the ongoing cycle of violence in Kashmir started after the killing of Burhan Wani. She said that rumours were spread against her government on one pretext or the other, but she made it clear that the state has a special place in the heart of India and nobody is going to do anything with that special place. She also said that when there is violence, all the freedom is lost.
आज मुझे उम्मीद है जो कोशिश होगी वो सही कोशिश होगी और इंशाअल्लाह हम जल्दी इन मुश्किलात से बाहर आएंगे। मुझे उम्मीद है क्योंकि हमारी सबकी नीयत साफ है, लोगों की खिदमत करना चाहते हैं और मेरी उम्मीद है।
Well, earlier Prime Minister Narendra Modi made a fresh bid for peace in the Kashmir Valley by reaching out to the people of the state through his monthly program Mann Ki Baat. Now, the Prime Minister spoke about unity and love being the basic mantras for addressing the Kashmir problem. He also used the opportunity to target those pushing innocent children to take up violence. Modi said that those doing this will be answerable to these children in the future. Modi also said that all political parties have spoken in one voice of the Kashmir issue, sending out a strong message to the divisive forces. Now, speaking about the loss of lives, the Prime Minister said that the loss is not just that of Kashmir or Kashmiris, but that of the entire country.
कश्मीर की स्थिति के संबंध में देश के सभी राजनीतिक दलों ने मिलकर के एक स्वर से कश्मीर की बात रखी, दुनिया को भी संदेश दिया, अलगाववादी तत्वों को भी संदेश दिया। जो लोग इन छोटे छोटे बालकों को आगे करके कश्मीर में अशांति पैदा करने का प्रयास कर रहे हैं, कभी न कभी उनको इन निर्दोष बालकों को भी जवाब देना पड़ेगा। और ममता, ये 2 बातें मूल मंत्र में रही और हम सभी का मत है, 125 करोड़ देशवासियों का मत है, गांव के प्रधान से लेकर के प्रधानमंत्री तक का मत है कि कश्मीर में अगर कोई भी जान जाती है, चाहे वह किसी नौजवान की हो या किसी सुरक्षा कर्मी की हो, ये नुकसान हमारा ही है, अपनों का ही है, अपने देश का ही है।
And former Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has lauded Prime Minister Narendra Modi for taking up the Kashmir situation in his radio address this time. Now taking to Twitter, Omar Abdullah said, "Good to see Narendra Modi ji continuing where he left off after meeting opposition parties in Delhi last Monday." While reacting to Modi's observation on youth being pushed towards stone pelting, Omar said, "Unfortunately, a lot of these youngsters have been pushed there by our collective mistakes and mishandling of the Jammu and Kashmir situation." Unquote. Omar Abdullah in the past had criticized Narendra Modi for not making mention of the Kashmir situation in his earlier Mann Ki Baat addresses. While the Congress and the other opposition parties sought to pick holes in the Prime Minister's address, they asked why the government has not been able to lift curfew in Kashmir if only 5% of the people are involved in creating trouble. The Congress said that while the people of the country want lasting peace in Kashmir, the statement by the Chief Minister of the state does not prove so.
हम इसका खैर मकदम करते हैं इस स्टेटमेंट का। वहीं हम ये भी उम्मीद करते हैं कि उसी स्पिरिट को आगे चलाते हुए कोई ना कोई ऐसा हल निकाला जाएगा जो कि एक परमानेंट सोल्यूशन होगा जम्मू कश्मीर के इस मसले का, और अमन को लाने के लिए सारी कोशिशें की जाएंगी और खून खराबे का ये सिलसिला जो है ये फौरी तौर पे बंद किया जाएगा।
कश्मीर में घाव पर मरहम लगाया जाए। विकास और तरक्की एक महत्वपूर्ण पहलू है, परंतु विश्वास पैदा करना पड़ेगा और जो लोग संविधान के रास्ते से भटक गए हैं उन्हें दोबारा देश की मुख्य धारा में लाना पड़ेगा। हम किसी भी ऐसे सकारात्मक कदम का स्वागत करेंगे।
मैंने खुद कश्मीर के मुख्यमंत्री महोदया महबूबा से बात की। उन्होंने इतना ही कहा कि यहाँ की डेवलपमेंट के बारे में जो बातें करने की आवश्यकता है और जिसकी कमिटमेंट भारत सरकार ने की है वो जल्दी करेंगे तो परिस्थिति में बदलाव लाने के लिए मदद हो जाएगी।
Meanwhile, Home Minister Rajnath Singh is likely to lead the all-party delegation which will visit Jammu and Kashmir on 3rd of September. Well, with the unrest in the Kashmir Valley continuing for the 51st consecutive day on Sunday, Rajnath Singh reviewed the situation with the top BJP and government functionaries in the national capital. Singh went into a huddle with BJP President Amit Shah, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley and Minister of State in the PMO Jitendra Singh and discussed with them the modalities of the all-party delegation's visit. The possibility of sending individuals and groups with whom the delegation could interact was also discussed. The government has sounded out to different political parties to convey the names of their representatives who will be the part of the delegation.
50 दिन से ऊपर हो गए हैं वहाँ कर्फ्यू की स्थिति बनी हुई है। लोग अभी भी कर्फ्यू में रह रहे हैं, तो जल्द से जल्द इस काम को करना चाहिए ताकि जब तक डायलॉग नहीं होगा कश्मीरियों के साथ, वहाँ के जो राजनीतिक दल हैं, वहाँ के जो सामाजिक कार्यकर्ता हैं, संगठन हैं, उनके साथ बातचीत जरूरी है।
Well, that is an initiative that is forward looking, an all party meet, talking to everybody and having that healing touch was essential. But these initiatives could have been done from Srinagar itself. Why get Delhi involved in this? A decision like this could have been taken there and could have been telephonically handled. Why delay? Every minute is costing us lives. People are blinded. People are dying. Curfew has been extended to a record time never seen in Jammu and Kashmir.
On to some other news now. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar will meet his American counterpart, Defence Secretary Ashton today. Parrikar, who is on his second visit to the United States in 8 months, will hold talks with Carter and carry forward talks on jet engine technology and unmanned aerial vehicles. Now, during the visit, India and the US are set to sign the Logistics Exchange Memorandum of Agreement, which will enable both the countries to use each other's assets and bases for repair and replenishment of supplies. Parrikar will also visit the Langley Air Force Base and the Boeing facility in Philadelphia during his 3-day visit. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar's visit to Washington coincides with US Secretary of State John Kerry's 4-day visit to India, which starts from today. Well, on to some other news. The French defence firm DCNS has moved an Australian court against the newspaper The Australian. Well, the firm seeks an order against the Australian from further publishing the leaked documents of India's Scorpion submarine project. The DCNS has also sought a court order to the newspaper to hand over all the documents in its possession and removal of the contents from its website. Remember, over 22,000 pages of top secret data on the capabilities of 6 highly advanced submarines being built for the Indian Navy in Mumbai in collaboration with the French company were leaked by the Australian newspaper last week. Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will hold wide-ranging talks with Myanmar's President U Tin Kyaw today. Well, this is the first top-level engagement between the two countries after iconic leader Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy wrested power in Myanmar from the military junta. Now, the talks are expected to focus particularly in areas of trade and investment and to enhance management for the over 1,600-kilometer-long Indo-Myanmar border. He will be accorded a ceremonial reception at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. Now, first, he will call on External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj, who visited Myanmar earlier last week. Later in the noon, he will hold talks with Prime Minister Modi, after which exchange of agreements will take place. He will later meet President Pranab Mukherjee. Well, this is Tin Kyaw's first overseas trip after assuming charge of the top office nearly 5 months back following the landslide victory of Suu Kyi's party. Tin Kyaw visited earlier Gaya and Agra before heading to the national capital.
There have been many complications involved in doing business with Myanmar, which has held back many of our companies from really investing the kind of time and attention and money which is required to do business in a country which is still fairly traditional in its ways of doing business.
Well, time to take a very short break. Up next, we'll have all the international and sports news. Stay with us.
From cauries to metal pieces, Indian currency has seen many changes. The earliest punch-marked coins came from Gandhar. The East India Company at the turn of the 19th century also minted its own coins. The Indo-Greek coins come from a colony left behind by Alexander. They depict the golden rule of the Guptas, with embossed human portraits and matrimonial alliances like Chandragupta Maurya's wedding with Seleucus I Nicator's daughter.
Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
Dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
We bring to you
the news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV.
Welcome back after the break. Now, a look at the flood situation across several states in the country. Well, in Bihar, the flood situation has worsened in eastern parts of the state. Now, Bhagalpur, Khagaria and Munger are the worst affected districts. Over 37 lakh people have been affected by 12 districts by the floods so far. Now, 3 more people died in flood-related incidents in the state, taking the death toll to 156. Now, Chief Minister Nitish Kumar inspected relief camps in Bhagalpur. The centre has asked the state to submit a memorandum on the losses so far and has assured that all help will be provided. Meanwhile, in Uttar Pradesh, the Ganga and Yamuna rivers have been receding with no fresh rainfall, but they are still flowing above their respective danger marks at several places. Around 8.7 lakh people in 987 villages in Varanasi, Allahabad, Ghazipur and Balia remain affected due to the floods. The relief and rescue operations are on, and the state government has also alerted the health department to check any outbreak of diseases. Meanwhile, as far as Bengal is concerned, the flood situation in Malda district remains unchanged, with the Ganga water level standing static at 48 centimeters above the extreme danger level. In West Midnapur, crops of more than 500 acres farming land have been destroyed by flood waters.
हाउस डैमेज, क्रॉप डैमेज, प्रभावित लोगों की सूची, पुल पुलिया का टूटना, बिजली का पोल टूटना, सड़क का टूटना, इन सबों का सर्वे करके जल्द से जल्द सरकार को अपनी रिपोर्ट भेजनी चाहिए, तो उसके अनुपालन में केंद्र सरकार कार्रवाई करेगी।
हमें जहां मदद करनी चाहिए, हम 20,000 से ज्यादा लोगों को बचाने का काम किया एनडीआरएफ के द्वारा। तो जो केंद्र का दायित्व है, जो केंद्र का काम है, वो हम कर रहे हैं। पैसे देने के भी काम कर रहे हैं, अनाज देने का काम कर रहे हैं, लेकिन जमीन पर उतारना तो पड़ेगा राज्य सरकार को। राज्य सरकार केवल कह रही है, जमीनों पर दिख नहीं रहा है।
এখন যে অবস্থায় দাঁড়িয়েছে যে এই তো কয়েকশো একর জমি জলের তলায়, মানে সেসব ফসল ক্ষয়ক্ষতি হয়ে গেছে। হ্যাঁ, ক্ষতিগ্রস্ত টাকা চাই, একটা তো দিতেই হবে, না হলে যে ক্ষতি হয়েছে আর সীমানিমা নাই তাদের। এখন মানে এই বন্যা মরার পর যে দেখবে যে সব ফসল শেষ, তখন এবার দুর্ভিক্ষর পরিস্থিতি।
Let's bring you some international news. At least 40 people have been killed in Turkey as Turkey continues to target Kurdish-held areas in Syria near the border city of Jarablus. The Turkish military said that those killed in Sunday's airstrikes were Kurdish militants. However, a monitoring group said that at least 35 civilians and 4 militants were killed. The strikes came on the 5th day of Turkey's military operation to target Islamic State militants and Kurdish militia inside Syria, while the increase in offensive came after IS militants killed 54 people at a Kurdish wedding last week in Gaziantep, a city close to the Turkish border. Now, Ankara also wants to force the Kurds to withdraw to the east of Euphrates River, stopping short of establishing a corridor to link two Kurdish-led areas in Syria. Hence, it is targeting both Islamic State and Kurdish militia with its strikes. Now, President Erdogan said that operations against terrorist organizations will continue until the end.
Suriye ve Irak'tan temizlenmesi için yürütülen çalışmalara her türlü katkıyı vereceğiz. Cerablus'ta bunun için varız. Başika'da bunun için varız. Gerekirse diğer bölgelerde de aynı şekilde sorumluluk üstlenmekten kaçınmayacağız.
Well, 5 days after the conclusion of peace negotiations since 2012, the main leftist rebel group in Colombia, the FARC, announced a definitive ceasefire and cessation of hostilities. The ceasefire comes into effect from Sunday midnight local time, and it brings to an end the group's 52-year-old war. The Colombian President Juan Manuel Santos signed a decree earlier to halt the military operations against the FARC, also from midnight. The final peace now agreement will be signed in the next few days. Under the terms of the agreement, the FARC will give up its armed struggle and join the legal political process. The signing of the agreement will be followed by a 6-month demobilization process, wherein guerrilla fighters will gather at collection points and give up their weapons under UN supervision. Close to 260,000 Colombians have died and millions internally displaced since 1964, as rebel armies and gangs have battled in the jungles in what is considered Latin America's last major civil armed conflict.
Lamentamos tanta muerte y dolor ocasionados por la guerra. Hoy, más que nunca, queremos abrazarlos como compatriotas y comenzar a trabajar unidos por la nueva Colombia. Se acabó la guerra.
And news from Brazil, where the impeachment battle is set to reach a dramatic climax today because country's first female president, Dilma Rousseff, will today make a last stand before the hostile Senate or the upper house. The Workers' Party leader, who was suspended from the presidency in the month of May, is scheduled to testify in her own defense today. During this, she is scheduled to give evidence in her defense and also may face grilling questions from the senators. The upper house will then vote on whether to remove her from office for alleged fiscal irregularities. Now, Rousseff denies that she broke the law and brands the impeachment a coup by her conservative rivals. Now, these include the man set to replace her, former Vice President and interim head of state Michael Temer. Protests for and against Rousseff broke out during the previous steps in the impeachment process over the recent months.
Politicamente, a Dilma já não tem mais chance. Aí, na minha concepção, eu acho que só faltava a canetada final e dar o Temer logo como presidente.
Olha, eu tenho esperança de uma mudança econômica no Brasil. Eu, como empresário, sofri muito durante esses 2 últimos anos com essa recessão e espero agora que o novo governo possa estar ajustando tudo e melhorando a economia do país.
Let's get you some more international stories in World Wrap. Libya's government forces have suffered heavy casualties as they pushed into the last 2 areas of Sirte held by the Islamic State group. 34 soldiers had been killed and 150 wounded in fierce fighting. Now, this as the Libyan and US warplanes carried out airstrikes and mortar bombardment of the districts north of Sirte. The coastal city was seized by the militant group in February 2015. German Chancellor Angela Merkel on Sunday said that the refusal of some EU countries to accept Muslim refugees was unacceptable. Now, backing the idea of a quota system for taking in migrants, she stressed that everyone must do their part and that a common solution must be found. The comments come as Germany said that it anticipated at least 3 lakh refugees in 2016. As the British Prime Minister Theresa May prepares to head to China for the upcoming G20 summit, she will first hold a critical cabinet meeting with her top ministers at Chequers. At the meeting, May is expected to order feuding Brexit ministers to end any turf wars. Now, May intends to reinforce her clear Brexit stance following Britain's 23rd of June referendum decision that the country will indeed leave the European Union. Meanwhile, news are just coming in while police are searching the Los Angeles International Airport after unconfirmed reports of an active shooter forcing the evacuation of parts of the airport. Now, LA Airport Police Department said the reports were unconfirmed and they have begun to let passengers from the tarmac back into the airport. Authorities have blocked off the entrance to the airport. Now, witnesses took to social media to film the passengers running through the airport, with some saying that police have told them to immediately evacuate. Well, we'll continue tracking all those developments from Los Angeles. On to some sports news. And the US Open kicks off today. Novak Djokovic is the defending champion in the men's singles event, while Italian Flavia Pennetta is the current champion in the women's singles event. She will, however, not be able to defend her title as she retired at the end of a 2015 season. In the men's singles, Novak Djokovic, Andy Murray and Rafael Nadal are among the top contenders. Other contenders are likely to be world number 3 Stan Wawrinka, a 2-time semi-finalist, Milos Raonic and Kei Nishikori. In the women's singles, Serena Williams smashed Steffi Graf's open-era record of 22 Grand Slam singles titles with her triumph at the Wimbledon in July. With the 7th US Open triumph, she can now break Steffi Graf's record. Meanwhile, India's Saket Maineni has also entered the singles main draw and will take Czech Jerry Wesley in the first round. Now, if Maineni gets past the round, he is likely to face world number 1 Novak Djokovic in the second round. And President Pranab Mukherjee will confer the National Sports Awards today in a special ceremony at the Rashtrapati Bhavan. The country's highest sporting award, Rajiv Gandhi Khel Ratna, will be conferred upon 4 athletes, with Olympic medalists PV Sindhu and Sakshi Malik, gymnast Deepa Karmakar and a shooter Jeetu Rai. Meanwhile, this year's Dronacharya Award has been conferred upon 6 coaches. The most notable among them, Deepa's coach Vivdeshwar Nandi and India's Test team captain Virat Kohli's mentor Rajkumar Sharma. And the Dhyan Chand, the Lifetime Achievement Award, will be given to Sati Geeta for athletics, Sylvanus Dongdong for hockey, and Rajendra Prahlad Shelke for rowing, and 15 others will be given the Arjuna Award. Besides, the Punjab University of Patiala will be awarded the Maulana Abdul Kalam Azad Trophy 2015-16. Arjuna, Dronacharya and Dhyan Chand awardees will receive statuettes, certificates and a cash prize of 5 lakh rupees each. The National Sports Awards are given every year to recognize and reward excellence in sports. Earlier, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hosted the National Sports Awardees, including Rio Olympics silver medalist PV Sindhu and bronze winner Sakshi Malik at his 7 RCR residence on Sunday.
हमारा 3 उद्देश्य हैं: कंपटीशन, टैलेंट हंट और एक्सीलेंस इन स्पोर्ट्स। और जो स्टेक होल्डर्स हैं उनमें सेंटर, स्टेट, फेडरेशंस, एसोसिएशंस, खिलाड़ी, कोच, इन सबको मिलकर काम करना होगा।
Well, on to some cricket news. Well, it was a disappointing end to the 2-match series between India and the West Indies as the final T20 international was abandoned due to rain at Florida on Sunday. Well, West Indies won the series 1-0 by virtue of their dramatic one-run victory in their first game. After electing to bowl first, Indian bowlers produced a much improved performance to bundle out West Indies for 143 in 19.4 overs. And as soon as the Indian chase began, the rain started. Rohit Sharma and Ajinkya Rahane were at the crease with India on 15 for no loss when the covers were brought in and the match was stopped after 2 overs. Earlier, the match started after a delay of 40 minutes due to some technical issues. The result, though, has no impact on the standing of the two teams in the ICC T20 rankings, as India remained at the second spot ahead of the West Indies.
Good running. Very good running.
Well, that's it from me and this edition of news. Thanks for watching.